Victor, I'm actually more used to streaming on Twitch than I am on using Zoom. So I was streaming on Twitch like years ago. Yes, I am an online gamer. But I unfortunately don't know. I'm doing like some complicated stuff on Open Broadcaster Studio that I know how to do. But I don't know how to like make that talk to Zoom. I got the video all figured out with some pretty sophisticated stuff. We actually have a recording studio in the basement of the physics building, which is where I'm broadcasting from. Like getting that to talk to Zoom, we'll have that sorted out from Thursday. Hannah, when I was a grad student and a postdoc, I played a lot of League of Legends. I don't play much anymore, but mostly I play indie games. Yeah, Victor, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with OBS. So one of the things that I will note, we're just getting started here, class. Orange Saucepan, would you like there to be a Discord? Because there was a Discord last semester. Brienne, I had no subs. I wasn't streaming for entertainment, I was streaming for my friends. Because I lived here and many of my friends lived in other states, we would just like stream stuff for each other, and it's a way we kept in touch. If you would like a Discord for this class, we can definitely have a Discord for this class. Like that's really easy, the server is already set up. All I have to do is send out the invite link to people. So we're getting started here, and let me just say something. Yeah. No, Max, you won't be marked as absent. We are not keeping attendance in lecture. So one of the things I'll note is, so you can see me standing in front of a green screen. I have Zoom chat open on one computer and Twitch chat open on the other computer. I have, if you're on Twitch, you can see Zoom chat, but not the other way around. I will get those things fixed as we go. So welcome to AST101 at Syracuse University. Let me get this chair out of my way. This is, as you know, a giant experiment. We are figuring all of this out as we go. I am a physicist. I am a photographer, a stills photographer. I am not a video producer. I'm standing in front of a bunch of stage lights with a giant rat nest of cables in front of me. So please be patient with us as we figure things out. This is a very experimental semester, and we're going to get you the best class that we can. But to do that, there are going to be some growing pains on our end as we figure out how all of this complicated stuff works. I don't know what a stargazing GC is. If you could tell me what a GC is, I could comment on that. There are people actually saying that we should start a Discord server for class. I can do that. That will go live as soon as I literally send the invite link out to everybody. GC group chat. Okay, I am 38 years old. I am not down with all of the new lingo. I finally figured out what yeet meant a few years ago. So this is a very large class. There are 350 of you in this section. There are 350 of you in another section. Today I want to talk about what our class will be, what it won't be, what we're going to do in here, what kinds of things you'll think about, what kinds of things you'll do, and how the semester will go. And then we will get started. I have to apologize to all of the people on Zoom that I am not able right now to play video from other things into Zoom. So I was going to show you a couple of really cool YouTube videos. One of them I think is one of the most, the story behind one of the most amazing art pieces I have ever seen. But that will have to wait until Thursday until I get some tech things worked out. So today's class will be improvised a little bit. As I said, we're figuring this out as we go. You'll probably notice that the title of this class is different than what your syllabus says, or what your catalog says. The title I've put on my slides is Our Place in the Universe, rather than Our Corner of the Universe, because that's really what this class is about. It's not just about what's near us in the universe. We're going to learn about the solar system, we're going to learn about the nearby stars, we're going to learn about how the sun works, why it shines, what causes the seasons, what causes the phases of the moon, what the zodiac constellations are, and why different ones are visible at different times of the year. All of these things we will do. But we're also going to do some things that touch very powerfully on our humanity, on how it is that we know these things about the universe, and how the things of astronomy have informed our understanding of what it means to be human. So many of you taking this class are probably thinking, oh, this is a science class. I'm not really a science person. I'm not a science major. Am I going to have to do math? I'm a little worried, right? I want to say very directly to all of you, this class is kind of half of a humanities class. There's not going to be much mathematics. This class is going to be about how the stuff of science and the stuff of human nature intersect. I'm going to start with a quote from Carl Sagan, the great philosopher of science and science communicator of the 20th century. He wrote, "The size and age of the cosmos are beyond ordinary human understanding. Lost somewhere between immensity and eternity is our tiny planetary home. In a cosmic perspective, most human concerns seem insignificant, almost petty, even petty. And yet our species is young and curious and brave and shows much promise. In the last few millennia, we have made the most astonishing and unexpected discoveries about the cosmos and our place within it, explorations that are exhilarating to consider. They remind us that humans have evolved to wonder, that understanding is a joy, that knowledge is prerequisite to survival. I believe our future depends powerfully on how well we understand this cosmos, in which we float like a mote of dust in the morning sky." Here Carl Sagan is kind of contrasting two things. He's contrasting how small we are as humans with how big our world is, how big our universe is, and how big we are finding out that it really is in the last 150 years or so. But Sagan compares that with our own capability. We're here, we're tiny on this little speck of dust, and yet we can understand the whole thing. We understand how it all works, for the most part. A few places around the cracks where physics is filling in the edges. And that this process of understanding our world is both required for survival and also quite a lot of fun. So that brings us to the first theme of our class. And I'd like to ask you about this. So you're all here at Syracuse to get an education, and I'd like to ask you why. So type in chat, either whether you're on Zoom or on Twitch, what you hope to do in the world with the skills you're learning here at Syracuse University. In other words, why have you come here? What are you studying? And what do you hope to do afterwards? I'd like to comment to John Hurley's iPhone. Lewd comments in chat will get you banned. If you wouldn't say it in class, in front of your peers, don't say it electronically. Just because you're online, right? This is like, Twitch memes are fine, but sexual harassment, racism, bigotry, sexism, anything like that, not okay. So Brienne has said that they want to get a good job and progress up the ladder in a career. Brienne, what are you studying? Somebody else has said, I'm going by Twitch aliases here, Thungar Gaba has said they want to explore the universe, develop social skills, get a well-paying job, develop their hobbies, sports broadcasting, success, get a good job, apply the skills they learn, go into politics. So I'd like to challenge C10 Seeker. You say you want to go into politics. What do you want to do when you get into politics? Tell me, like, when you get your jobs, when you get these jobs you're talking about, what do you want to do once you're in them? Obviously you want to make money, but do you want to do something beyond that? Someone is, audio is low. Give me a moment, we can fix that. Tell me if the audio is better here. Yep, all right. Be happy with what you're doing. Set you up to be successful. Work at a magazine, do sports, get a doctorate in psychology, get a well-paying job. Olivia has said something very pointed. She said she wants to work at a nonprofit and work to improve the quality of rural education, work with children in social work in schools, become a therapist and do the very important work of helping people through tough times, become a lawyer and work in the public interest with the UN, work for the History Channel and further the education of the world, be a lawyer, help others. Lots of people have said a lot of things. Animation, storytelling. Leah, you've said you want to work in animation and storytelling. Those skills are really the most crucial in our world right now, even beyond science, almost. The ability to communicate with a lot of people in a compelling way can make such a compelling difference in our world. Joseph says they want to be an Air Force pilot. go into banking, build your own career. Lots of people are talking about what they want to do. And some people are saying how they want to turn those things back to society and improve life for everyone. And that's really what education is about. Let's see, I have to click over here. Education ultimately is about empowerment. It's about giving you the ability to do the things that you need to do for yourself and for the world to make the world the place that you want to make it. Several thousand years ago, people died commonly before age 30, often of diseases that we now have treatments for. People often didn't have enough food to eat. Those things are far less common now, in part thanks to the things that society knows. Our university's motto, which you've all seen everywhere, Suos Cultura Scientia Corona, means knowledge crowns those who seek her. And it's interesting, the word scientia in Latin means just knowledge. Our word science comes from the Latin word for knowledge. So the first theme of our class, the one that we're going to keep coming back to, is that science lets us... So hi folks who are just now joining. Welcome to... Yes, Adam, I know what the dead goat means. I'm just, I'm making fun of the Lego. I see Quincy is here. Recognizing some of our coaches. Let's see, Adam, can you do me a favor? Can you make Quincy and Alina co-hosts as well? My participant list is going a bit nuts. So folks who are here, please stand by for just a sec. We are getting all set up. Adam, I'm going to let you run the Zoom room. So if you could just admit people in the waiting room and stuff like that. I got to start class. You don't have perms for that? Okay. So Adam has to head out. So folks stand by for one moment. We've got to get people in the Zoom waiting room in here. There's one other thing I have to do, and then we are ready to go. I have two classes back to back, and the last class was full of questions. So we ran over time. There we are. So Quincy, if you can hear me, you are now the co-host of the Zoom room. Or you're going to be as soon as... Unfortunately, people keep joining, and it makes it really hard to click on people's names. Yeah, that's definitely a Zoom bug. Well, I won't be able to do that for now. I got to start class. Alina's planning to stay. She can be the next mod. Okay. Yeah, Alina and Quincy, if we have a problem with trolls, I will make you a moderator and you can banhammer the trolls. Welcome. I'm sorry about the back and forth. Thanks, Adam. So welcome to the second section of astronomy class. The first section has kind of bled over into the second section, but we are ready to go now. I'd like to start by asking for your patience. Hi, Lisa. Yeah, we've got a green screen down in the basement. I'd like to ask for your patience, first of all. So, online teaching is something that is new to us. I did an online class in the spring, but it was much less elaborate than this one. We actually have a recording studio in the basement of the physics building. I'm standing in front of a digital SLR on a tripod, wired into an HDMI capture card, wired into a laptop, standing in front of a bunch of studio lights with monitors and headphones, and I am not a video producer. I will need help from Newhouse students to make this work. Can you all not hear audio on Zoom? So one of the things that I've been made aware of is that we are having audio levels problems. The audio sometimes becomes like 10 decibels quieter. We will have this fixed by Thursday. I apologize for the issues. We also wanted to start class with some really cool, like I was going to play Star Wars music and show you some amazing videos and do cool things. It turns out we could get audio on Twitch, but not on Zoom from things like that. So, because of these issues, some of that elaborate stuff will have to wait. So I'd like to first ask for your patience as we figure this out. Online teaching is new to all of us. So welcome, I am Associate Professor Walter Freeman. I teach in the physics department here. I've been here for 5.5 years. Welcome to Astronomy 101. You'll notice that I've revised the name of our class a little bit. Our place in the universe is different than the title of our corner of the universe that you saw on your course catalog. I'll talk about why I changed the name of the class in a bit. I'd like to start and frame our class with a quote from Carl Sagan, the 20th century communicator of science and astronomer. He wrote, "The size and age of the cosmos are beyond ordinary human understanding. Lost somewhere between immensity and certainty is our tiny planetary home. In a cosmic perspective, most human concerns seem insignificant, even petty. And yet our species is young and curious and brave and shows much promise. In the last few millennia, we have made the most astonishing and unexpected discoveries about the cosmos and our place within it. Explorations that are exhilarating to consider. They remind us that humans have evolved to wonder, that understanding is a joy, and that knowledge is prerequisite to survival. I believe our future depends powerfully on how well we understand this cosmos in which we float like a mote of dust in the morning sky." Jing, yes, all of our classes are being recorded. So I am doing my video mixing through Open Broadcaster Studio, and it is saving an MP4 to my disk. And as soon as I am done with this, I will shovel it up to Kaltura and YouTube and Bilibili and other places like that. So this quote here sort of frames the first theme of our class. And I'd like to ask you all to tell me what you hope to do with the skills you've learned at SU. So I'm going to turn back on Twitch chat. We had to turn off Twitch chat before because I had to ban some people. We will have moderators around later. We'll have some moderators around later to clean up Twitch chat. Yes, you can still use Twitch emotes. You can still PogChamp, you can still do all those things you want. But if people start spamming, we will have to deal with that. I will remind everybody about etiquette. Don't say anything in either Zoom or Twitch that you wouldn't say in person. Sexism is not okay, racism is not okay, sexual harassment is not okay, homophobia is really not okay, things that are pornographic or prurient, not okay. Yes, I see all of the the people who understand how PogChamp works in Twitch chat. So, again, I'd like to invite the people on Zoom or in Twitch to answer the question. What do you want to do with the skills you get here at SU? Get a good job. Okay, Michael says he wants to get a good job, but what do you want to do in that job? When you're not just working for money, right? You want to improve your own lot in life, but you want to leave some footprints behind, not just for yourself. A job you like, a job you enjoy. Yes, your own enjoyment is a very valuable thing. You want to help people in your community and uplift them. Tell me how. Be known for what you love to do. Be able to do what you love to do. You want to live a good life. Be a good person. Learn more about your field of work. Pay it forward. Be successful and happy. Make the world a better place. Racism is what face? I agree. Become an astronaut. Awesome. Connor, one of our coaches in this class is the winner of the astronaut scholarship, Laurel White. She was awarded this scholarship by astronauts. I went to the celebration for her, and it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Cultivate your passions and amplify the intensity of your life. Make the world better, PogChamp. Success is mine. Come on, there are more Twitch emotes than that one. Be a well-rounded person. That is an amazing answer. Be a well-rounded individual on different topics. You want to be good at more than one thing. So you all are talking about things that have to do with your own fulfillment. And this kind of gets to, many of you are talking about making a broader difference in the world, right? Making your community better. Be a better leader and influence others in a good way. We see right now in the world that good leadership is at a premium, right? Good leadership matters, and it's hard to find. So you all often have been talking about education as a route to empowerment. Our university's motto, Suos cultura scientia coronat. You've seen it everywhere, but what's it mean? It means knowledge crowns those who seek her. What does that mean? Well, the crown of knowledge in this metaphor is the ability to make your own way in the world and make the world what you want it to be. I'm fixing my green screen here. Let's see, this corner is... Yes, I'm standing in front of a green screen. Now Emma says, successfully adapt to society as it changes. Expand your reach throughout the universe. Yes. So education, most broadly, is about the power to make the world what you want it to be. And science, well, the word scientia in SU's motto means knowledge in Latin. So our word science is really just the Latin word for knowledge. Hi, Twitch emote people. Gabriel wants to never lose the desire to learn, to understand that there is always more to discover. That's definitely been my career in science. The more I have learned, that there is a lot more to learn. We're going to make the Zoom chat window just a little bit smaller so it doesn't get in the way as much. So the first theme of our class, then, is that science is the key to writing our own future, to writing our better future. And we'll return to that again and again and again. Feed your cat. that is an amazing answer. Today, I'd like to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about who we are. We're going to talk about who you are. We're going to talk about what this class will be. And we're going to talk, probably a lot, about how we're going to conduct this weird, wacky class in an online setting. So that's the plan for now. And if we have time, we'll talk a little bit about what the universe is and how we measure it. I wanted to show you some nifty videos that were part of the plan for today. And then we lost audio for everything other than the microphone in Zoom. So I'm sorry about that. The plan for today has gotten a little bit rewritten, but those things will be back on Thursday. So this class is a huge class, and I am certainly not the only person you will learn from. I'm Walter Freeman. I'm an associate teaching professor of physics, but I'm not the only person who makes this go. We have 10 wonderful graduate teaching assistants. 3 of them have supervising roles, Faraz, Suman, and Mario. But they and the other 7 will be mostly teaching your labs, and they will be in charge of grading. You'll be assigned to one of those graduate teaching assistants based on what lab time you have. We also have a lot of undergraduate coaches. They are people just like you who took this class in previous years, and now they are back to help facilitate the class, make sure everything runs smoothly, ban spammers. Adam had to do quite a bit of that. Hi, Alina. Yes, Alina, Quincy, are you there? Alina and Quincy, who were in Zoom, are 2 of our coaches who took this class before. Quincy, I don't hear you chanting, I want to go to space, I want to go to space, I want to go to space. She must have, oh, there she is. Quincy was sitting in, I think you were in the 3rd row last year in Stolken Auditorium, back when we could be in the auditorium, and Quincy would bounce up and down and say, I want to go to space, I want to go to space, I want to go to space, all semester. And then at the end of the class, we talked about what's involved in people going to space. And that's how we ended. Your coaches, people like Quincy and Alina, will be helping out in class, in lecture, We'll be doing some group work in lecture if we can make Zoom behave. And they'll be facilitating you there. Oh, and Lexon's also there. Hi, Lexon. I didn't see you join. By the way, so you've probably seen that Lexon's private message to me has appeared in the Zoom window. I don't have any way to turn that off. So the Zoom chat that you see is actually being scraped off of the window and put into Open Broadcaster Studio. So don't tell me your deep dark secrets on Zoom chat right now. Yes, I want to go to space too, Quincy. You should talk to Laurel. She met all those astronauts at the astronaut scholarship thing. But a major idea of this class is that these are not the only people you will be learning from. You'll also be learning from all of these people. And these people. I need to get one of those little slide answer things. And these people. And all of these folks. And these folks. And yep, there's another page. And one more, plus whoever registered late. So this is a huge class. There are over 700 students in this class. And I put these slides here, right? The who are you going to learn from? So there's us, but then there's also all of you. And this is a core idea of our class, that your classmates are also your teachers. In your homework, you're not going to be doing your homework to prove to me that you have the right answer. Your homework is going to be to teach someone else in the class something. And we'll be talking about that later. Some other stuff you need to know. We're not going to be using Blackboard for much. Blackboard is kind of a pain in the butt. It's kind of difficult to use. It has a lot of bugs. So instead, I'm maintaining my own website where I'm going to post everything. The syllabus is not finished yet. We'll talk about why in a minute. So this QR code goes to this URL. There I will post, so Myra doesn't like Blackboard? How many other people here don't like Blackboard? All the Blackboard haters sound off. So let me rant about Blackboard for a minute. Many of you will notice that, so I have ADHD, like actually legit, and many of you will probably notice that it's pretty easy to get me off topic telling stories. It happens. And yesterday I posted the survey of when you wanted to go to lab, and I left off a time. And I spent 30 frickin' minutes trying to figure out how to edit the survey and put in that time, and I couldn't do it. There's no way to do it. So I had to build the whole thing again from scratch. So Blackboard is kind of garbage, and we're not going to use it. I have to use it for surveys because I've got no other way to do that. But other than surveys, we're not going to use Blackboard. I'm going to post everything on my own website here. There's not much there yet, but more stuff will appear. I'm going to put the syllabus up. We're going to have the first week's lab. We're going to have your first homework assignment, your group assignments, all of this stuff like that. So that will happen. Blackboard is weird, champ. Blackboard is valid. Oh, Twitch chat. The other tool we're using is this thing called Piazza. So Piazza, I'm not going to stand in front of the QR code. Piazza is an online forum where students can ask questions, and instructors and students can all answer them. There's the QR code, there's the URL back there. Whenever somebody posts a question to Piazza, yeah, Alina, I'm sorry about the audio. So the audio may come in and out. Yeah, the problem is on my end, CJ. Unfortunately, that's going to be an issue this class. I will get that fixed for Thursday. I think I know what the issue is, but it will take enough time to fix it that I don't want to do that right now. Can you hear me now, okay? People? All right, let me see if I can get just a wee bit more volume. No, it's not going to be worth doing. I'll just fix it Thursday. On Piazza, whenever you ask a question, this thing rings, and I can answer it right away. But you can also answer each other's question, and we'll be offering extra credit to students who provide a lot of good answers to classmates' questions. This is one way you can help each other. But I'm doing something else too. This green screen is disorienting. I'm pointing out in the middle of space at nothing. You can earn extra credit by asking science questions. So maybe you have always been interested in how black holes work, what dark matter is, how a nuclear reactor works, what really happened at Chernobyl, how a nuclear bomb works, how a touchscreen on a cell phone works, how you take pictures of the night sky. Will 5G give you cancer? The answer is no. Anything like that. Post those questions in the Ask the Physicist column on Piazza, and if you ask a good question, I will either make a video answering it or answer it in class, and you will get extra credit. Yeah, there are a couple of trollers here. So people, we are banning people for trolling on Twitch, and we will have mods there to do that on Thursday, so, yep. I want to talk about the group work that you'll be doing. So I've talked to a bunch of students, and they've told me that the thing that they miss the most is a sense of community. Nobody wants to sit at home in their dorm rooms all the time. I'm going to mute everybody on Zoom. Please, there's so many people here that we'll just wind up with a whole bunch of feedback. Oop. That's the button I wanted. There we go. Sorry about the tech glitches. We will get all of this ironed out. In your labs, you're going to do almost all of your work in groups of 3. So how will this work? We posted a survey on Blackboard. Yeah, I know everybody hates Blackboard, but you need to use this thing. So go to Blackboard and fill out the survey and tell us what time you would like to go to lab and how you want to do your lab, whether you want to be in person or online. Tell us a few more things. Do you prefer Google Docs or Office 365? That question is important because it determines how you will share documents with each other. Tell us that, and we'll assign you to a group of 3. We will send out instructions after this class for getting a specific group. If you and your friends all want to come to lab at the same time, don't tell me now, Nicholas and Hanlon, put it in the survey. Because there are hundreds of you, right, and we have to have all this in one place. Pamela asks, can you change lab times? So how many of you have had trouble with MySlice? Say something in chat if you've had trouble with MySlice. And so think about how many emails I have gotten about MySlice. Right? And what I want to do is I want to give you an opportunity to get the lab time that you want without having to deal with MySlice. So if you're happy with the lab time that you signed up for, then go to the survey and put down the lab time you signed up for. Like if you're registered for Wednesday at 10 a.m. and that time is good for you, just put down Wednesday at 10 a.m. on the survey. But if you want to switch times, then tell me that on the survey, and then go to the time that you signed up for. My slice, more like by slice. Oh dear. What have I gotten myself into having a Twitch channel? So I used to stream like games on Twitch, what it's for an audience of like 2 people in another state. My friends were in another state and I would stream stuff for them, like halfway across the country. I have never run a Twitch stream for something like this before. No, you can't stop. So your group, the labs that you do will be done with your group mates. You'll submit them together. Yes, so Jake, that's a really good question. You don't have to be in a group with people in this lecture section. You can be in the same group with people in the 12:30 lecture section. But your group has to be in the same lab time. So you and 2 other people who all want to come to lab in person at 12:30 p.m. on Wednesday will be a group. Or someone else with people who all want to work on labs online at 8 p.m. on Monday, all will work together. Miranda asks, will the groups be meeting in person? If you want to. You will tell us whether you want to meet your group in person or not, and we'll put you with people who have the same preference, right? We are trying to make this class be whatever you want it to be. Some of you are remote, some of you are in far-flung places around the world. Some of you are in East Asia. Some of you are probably going to be watching this later on a streaming service because you're sleeping right now because it is 2 a.m. where you live, right? Yes, all of these preferences will be noted in the survey. You can choose your group members. You'll have to do that by email. I'm going to set up a way for you to do that after class. I don't have that ready right now. But I'll send you instructions for that outside class. Will it be easier to be in person to do the assignments? That depends on you, right? If you're on campus, I encourage you to work with other people who are on campus in person outside. That's another thing. All of our in-person lab meetings will all be outdoors. Caitlin asks, what kinds of labs do you do? Some of them involve understanding the motion of the night sky. Some of them involve using computer simulators. Some of them involve looking at how you do computer programming. You won't have to write computer code in our class, but it turns out it's easier to read than you think. You'll be simulating the orbits of planets. You'll be exploring the way that light works. You'll be doing computer models of the spread of COVID-19. That's one of our labs. So things like this. Many of them will involve working on a computer. All right, so Twitch chat has gotten a bit nuts. I do have a comment for some of the Twitch chat people perhaps later. But so I see people, let me just make a comment. People in Twitch chat are memeing about Warzone. People are, which I don't play but I've heard of. People are memeing about other things. A little bit of memery in Twitch chat is okay. But some of your classmates will want to ask questions about what we're doing in Twitch chat. So please keep the memes down to a low roar, just so people who want to ask me questions about what we're doing in class can do that. Yes, memery is a word. Can you have a Pokey and Amaranth guest stream? I know who Pokey is, I don't know who the other person is. Maggie asks, is there a textbook? Yes, there is a textbook. No, you don't need to buy it. The textbook is OpenStax Astronomy. It's freely accessible. The syllabus isn't done yet, but once I post the syllabus, all of that will make sense. We'll talk about the syllabus in a minute. Now let's talk about COVID-19. I'm not going to lecture you about what you need to do. I'm not going to tell you what the Stay Safe Pledge says. I'm not going to threaten you with getting suspended if you do things that are unsafe. You already know that. You are all young adults. You are all responsible people. You don't need me to tell you that. Is the Zoom frozen for anybody else? No. I have a monitor here and it's working. Yes, sometimes I stop moving, believe it or not. The Wi-Fi in day sucks. I'm actually surprised at how good the Wi-Fi is down in the basement of the physics building. I want to appeal, in talking about COVID-19, to our theme. Science lets us write our own better future. We will have whatever kind of semester we write for ourselves. If people consistently do unsafe things, then we will all be going home. And before we go home, there will be so many COVID-19 cases that some people in the Syracuse city will get sick and will be injured. If we are all doing responsible things, then we will get to have classes in person, and I won't be standing down here in a recording studio next semester. Yeah, I hope we don't get sent home too, bro. So let's talk about how things will be going in our class. Our class will be meeting on both Zoom and Twitch all semester. I'll be reading chat for both. I'm gonna get, so right now you see me always walking forward. I have two laptops here with chat for both. I'm gonna turn off Twitch chat. It's all memes. Actually, let me just say this. I'm gonna have to turn off Twitch chat if it continues to be all memes. Yes, as Alina said, we are visitors in the city. Syracuse was here before we got here, and we need to be considerate to the people who live here. Send me feedback about Zoom and Twitch. If you've used both, which one do you prefer? Especially once we start doing other things and once you start talking to other people. We'll be using either Zoom or Blackboard Collaborate on Thursday for group work. Bye-bye Twitch chat. Sorry, too many spammers. I encourage the people on Twitch to join Zoom also. Just mute the audio from Zoom if you want to use the chat there. The group work on Thursday may be a mess. It will be an experiment. Bear with us on that. We're still deciding how you will work with your lab partners. That will be either on Microsoft Teams or on Zoom. We're going to test those with some of the teaching staff this week, and we'll let you know. Miranda asks, will we be taking attendance through Twitch and Zoom? No, we won't. We don't take attendance in the lecture class because some people, remember, it is 2:30 a.m. in Shanghai right now, and we have some of our class in Shanghai. And I can't expect our colleagues in China to be awake right now, so they're going to be watching this later on a recording. So the only thing that you need to be here for, of course, is to learn stuff, which is the whole point of coming to college. In labs, so this thing here, don't go to lab this week. I've gotten 80 billion emails about that already. I sent out a note this weekend. No labs this week. Your labs start next week. You're responsible to your lab group for your lab work. So if you miss a lab, don't tell me. Tell the other people in your lab group. Maybe the three of you can go to a different time that week. You can do that. Labs will be either on Zoom or on Microsoft Teams. Office hour, the first office hours today will be held from 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. in front of Holden Observatory. Holden Observatory is near Falk College. It's, if you go on the quad, if you walk on the other side of Hendricks Chapel, there's a parking lot. Just keep going almost to the music building. And Holden is the small gray building up on a small hill. I'll be out in front of that from 4 to 6:30. I'll also be on Zoom at that time, and you can come talk to me. Yes, Robert, that means you don't show up to lab this week. Don't go to lab this week. Your lab partners will be assigned based on your replies to the survey. And you'll do your lab in one of three ways, depending on the group that you're assigned to. We'll give you groups that all work in the same way. You will do some stuff. You will record your thoughts, your observations in a shared document, and you will send us that document. That document is a record of what you did. It is, just because you turn in the document doesn't mean that you get an A or whatever, right? The document is a reflection of the work that you did, but we expect you to do the work. And yes, we will, it's not up there yet, but I will give you a way to specify who you want to work with. Of course, you all have to be there at the same time. I dropped the mouse. I've got a little mouse here that I'm using to advance my slides. You're going to be doing a bunch of group projects in this class. You'll be doing one every week or week and a half. They're kind of like homework, but they'll be different than what you're used to. So tell me, how did your teacher grade your homework in high school? Like, what did you have to do to get a good grade on your homework? What did you have to write? What did you have to show your teacher to get a good grade? You had to just do it. You had to answer it. You had to complete it, turn it in. You had to Nike. Completion grades, you had to try. So your teacher just like gave you 100% for just like turning something in? Basically. Man, my high school homework certainly wasn't that way. Olivia, so talk to those people. So if you want to work with other people, talk to them. Like after class, talk to them, agree on a time you want to meet, and then all of you should fill out the survey and put down that time. But we need to know your time within 24 hours after class because we have to assign the groups. So, yeah, get on Snapchat or iMessage or whatever it is that you're using and contact your buddies and say, hey, can we meet at such and such time? Figure out when you want to meet and then all put down the same time on the survey. Robert said you had to have complete answers that were right based on the book. Taylor, yes, you can work with somebody in the 12:30 lecture. It's all one big class. So a lot of people are saying that in order to get a good grade on your homework, you had to have the correct answers. It turns out in Astronomy 101, this is not good enough. Luca, the available lab times are on the survey. I will also, why don't you post that question on Piazza? So this is a great example of what Piazza is for. So if I go back here, so go to the course Piazza page and post what are the available lab times. And either I or someone else will just answer that question right there. Piazza is way more efficient than emailing me questions. Ryan asks about your lab assignments and times. Once the survey is in, you'll go to the lab at the time when you tell me. So if you tell me you want to go to lab at Tuesdays at 1 p.m., then that is when you will go to lab. The time you put down on the survey is when you will go to lab. Your group assignments we will make based on the survey, and we'll tell you what that is as well. Where will you meet? So if your lab is online, you will be meeting in either Zoom or Microsoft Teams, and we'll tell you how that works. If your lab is in person, you will be meeting outside in front of Holden Observatory. Groups of 3. If you submit more than one survey, we will use the last one you submit. On the projects, if there is bad weather, then we will all be online, Kirsten. In our class, for your homework, you are not writing something for me. I already know the answers. I wrote the homework, right? The point of the homework is not to prove to me that you know how to do something. The point of your homework is to explain to someone else how to do something. So different groups will get different homework assignments, different projects. And when you turn in your homework, when you're done, you'll like work together, you'll create an explanation of how to do something. That explanation could be a document, it could be a Word document, it could involve pictures, it could even be a video. Yes, your homework assignment could be a short video that you send to people. And it's got to explain not just the answer to something, but an explanation of how you get that answer. You're trying to teach someone something, remember. So another group will get your homework assignment, and then they will give you a grade. They will look at what you turned in and they'll say, hey, we really learned a lot from this. This makes complete sense. They get an A. Or, yeah, they got the right answers. Like this, it's correct, but like, I don't see how they got that. No, you get a C. So we'll have a rubric for you to evaluate other people's work. And then, don't worry, your grades are not dependent solely on the whims of your classmates. You will submit then your work with their evaluations. All of that will go to your lab TA. And your lab TA will either say, yes, they said that this is B+ work, this is indeed B+ work, or that's reasonable, so you get a B+ and you get credit for the evaluation. Or if maybe you didn't, the person was being a troll and you submitted good work and they gave you a, grade that isn't reasonable, then they'll get a 0 for being a troll and you'll get whatever grade the TA thinks is reasonable. So that's how your homework is set up. You're not writing for an audience of us, you're writing for an audience of each other. Remember that list of 750 names. Those are the people that you're learning from and that you're helping teach. I may be at some of them, Cassidy. I won't be at all of them since we have 35 sections. The in-person labs run from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. without a break some days. So this is why I have folks to help me. I'll be at some of them though. And I may set up a time, like a makeup time some weeks, where I lead a lab section myself in person. So that's how this works. You're also going to write a few papers this semester. Many of you are probably thinking, science class, I'm not really a science person, I don't like math. You're going to do some mathematics in this class, but not much. Instead, you're going to be writing papers. You're going to be writing papers that discuss connections between the things in astronomy and things that are in stuff of broader human nature. You also have the option at the end of class to do a free-form creative project. I'll talk about that later. It's coming. Some of those creative projects have been stunningly cool, and you'll see an example. So I told you that I didn't post the syllabus yet, because we haven't written it yet. Remember, the syllabus is an agreement between me and you. And so if I could ask Alina and Adam, or Alina's not, Adam's not here anymore. If I could ask Alina and Quincy, if you could answer some of the questions in chat that have already been answered, like about labs. So there's no lab this week. If y'all just want to watch chat and do that. And feel free to answer each other's questions, right? That's the beauty of chat, that's the beauty of Piazza. That people other than me can help you out. Someone at some point will have to explain to me what lit means. I think I am very lit right now since I'm standing in front of studio lights. But back to the question at hand. The syllabus is an agreement between you and I about how our class will be conducted, what you'll do, and how you'll be graded. More or less, yes. I'm being a little bit of a troll, Kirsten, I do know that. I'm 38, but I'm not, I'm an old man, but I'm not that old. Tell me about how you want to do exams. How much of your grade should they be? How should we set them up so they're fair? How many exams do you want to have? And what do we do about folks who cheat on exams? So last spring when we went online, we had 200 people in my class who cheated on the final exam. Some of them got suspended, some of them have to take the class again. It didn't go so well. Trial by combat if you cheat, I really wish, Brendan. I'm actually going to be at a hearing for some of those people, so that's not quite combat, but exams only count if it's an A, Hunger Games style, Russian roulette. Weigh the lowest exam grade less, and a bunch of people are saying no exams. If we have no exams, how should we give you a grade? Open book or group exams. Yeah, I mean, we're doing everything else in groups. You want to do grades based on classwork and participation. Papers, creative projects, believe in you. No exams. 4 exams worth 25% each. No exams would be lit. Group exams. So here's what we're going to do. We have some people, so last class, 12:30, everybody said no exams. So I already decided, I gave you a chance to ask the question, but we already decided in the 12:30 class that we are not having exams. What we will do, some of your group projects will involve looking at exam questions from previous years. I will give you some exam questions, and you, as your group project, have to create explanations for other groups of how you know what the answer is. There is not going to be a final exam, Tyler. So no exams at all. Your grade instead will come only from your projects, your group projects, your labs, your papers, and your final creative projects. Liam, yes, the final creative project is often a paper for many students, and I'll talk more about that later. Now, just because there are no exams does not mean this class will be an easy A. You're going to have to do a lot of work, good manifesting. You're going to have to be accountable and responsible to your group. Yes, you can form a group with students from the other section. I want to pivot now to talking less about our class and talking more about what our class is about, which is the sky. So tell me in Zoom chat about these pictures. They're cool, they're nebulous, they're pretty, it's the Milky Way. Yeah, this is the Milky Way, a cluster of stars. It's mesmerizing, beautiful. Where's the light pollution? There's no light pollution. It's an iPhone. These are pretty enough to be an iPhone background. The trees are in the way. Yeah, there are trees. This is not just, what is the bright one in the bottom left of the left picture? That is Jupiter. So in that picture, so I'm getting new at the green screen thing, right? So that's Jupiter. And that one over there, barely off the frame, is Saturn. If you want a high-resolution picture version of these, then I can send that to you. This is actually not in the Adirondacks. This was taken in Labrador Hollow, 20 miles from Syracuse. So this is, this is closer to Syracuse than my own commute to work, right? These were taken by one of our coaches. You will be working with her in class. These were taken by Lisa Lee, who is a physics, photography, film studies triple major. I hope she has a time turner to do this. She's also coaching for our class, and for good measure also coaching for honors physics. And she, over the summer, went down to Labrador Hollow and shot these pictures with an ordinary SLR camera. And you can do these too. So people are saying field trip. How many people are, so tell me in chat if you would be interested in taking a field trip down there with your own cameras and taking night sky pictures. I can do that. We can set up an astrophotography workshop where we all go down to Labrador Hollow, and I can't drive you, right? I'm not allowed to drive students around, but if you can get down to Labrador Hollow, I think, I have to talk to people and make sure I can pull this off, but I think we can all go down there and take pictures of the night sky. Ryan says if you go, you get an automatic A. Well, no, we don't believe in automatic A's here, but that can be your final creative project. No, we're not going to have the COVID bus, Luke. You have to get down there, and you have to get down there safely. Safely means driving with only people in your own household. So, sorry, this is the problem with doing these things in the age of COVID, right? We have to be safe. Caitlin, we may be able to arrange for transportation. We can figure some stuff out. If you're wearing masks, and we'll figure it out. Maybe you can have the windows down or something. This is another picture from Lisa. And the quote here is from one of the American heroes that we don't celebrate enough, John Muir. He's really the person who had the idea for the national park system. He's associated with Yosemite National Park, and he wrote, "When we contemplate the whole globe as one great dewdrop, striped and dotted with continents and islands, flying through space with other stars, all singing and shining together as one, the whole universe appears as an infinite storm of beauty." So you mentioned Teddy Roosevelt, Michael. So Teddy Roosevelt was also associated with that story, but even more was Ansel Adams. So Ansel Adams was a great American landscape photographer at a time when photography was extraordinarily primitive, and Muir and Adams, more than anyone else, put Yosemite on the map and created the park system. Here's another picture. This is the eclipse in 2017. So 3 years ago, the moon went in front of the sun. These wispy lines that you see are the sun's corona, the Latin word for crown. This is an amazing scientific image, right? It's an amazing picture that shows the structure of the sun's outer atmosphere. This isn't a mask on the sun, that's the moon. Yes, corona just means crown, right? It is, it's the name of this virus because the coronavirus has spikes on it that look like a king's crown. So it's a Latin word, it's the crown virus, right? The beer, Corona beer, is also the word for crown. There are some places where the kind of money is a word that sounds like Corona. And I wanted to show you all a video in class, but the people on Zoom are not going to get audio. So I'm going to do that later after I get audio fixed on Zoom. But this is art, right? This is not just a scientific image, this is an artistic image, and I'll get off of the sun here. But an even cooler artistic image is this one. This was shot in Smith Rock State Park, which is where modern climbing was invented, rock climbing. And the amazing thing is that we can calculate now exactly when eclipses will happen and exactly where they will happen. In medieval Europe, people were terrified of these. They thought the sun was being swallowed and then it was a herald of the end of days. And now, in the 21st century, we make art out of this. This is another illustration of the power of science, right? Science is the thing that tells us we need not be scared of the monsters in the dark. We can turn them into beautiful art. And this is a staged photograph. They had a rock climber climb up there. They had people down on ground level with a long telephoto lens and got this picture of this climber right in front of the eclipsed sun. And it's astounding. It's one of the best photographs I've ever seen in my life. And so this brings us to the second theme of our class, which is that science and astronomy are not just things that give us agency over our world, they're also stunningly beautiful. And we're going to see again and again and again in our class the connections between science and art, and how the things of science have been made into art by creative people. People are mentioning in chat that it is a bad idea to look at the partially eclipsed sun without dark glasses. It is a very bad idea to look at the partially eclipsed sun without dark glasses. There is a famous picture of a famous person looking up at the sun, squinting with a dopey look on his face without dark glasses, and this famous person probably has a half-sun-shaped patch in his retina that is damaged, right? Yes, I'm not going to be blatantly political, but you all can figure out what I'm talking about. The third theme of our class is that astronomy tells us who we are. Does anybody know why the fourth planet is named Mars? The Roman war god. Yeah, but why the Roman war god? Why not name that one Venus? After the candy bar god. Something to do with Romans. Yes, Mars is the Roman god of war, and it's red, right? Blood is red. war is bloody. So the Romans said, we're going to name all of the planets after our gods. Planets are different than stars. We'll talk about why in a bit. And that one's red, so we'll name it after the war god. They thought Venus was beautiful, so they named Venus after their god of love and beauty. Yes, the moons of Mars are Phobos and Deimos, which are fear and terror, I believe, are those in Greek. So throughout human history, the things of astronomy have been connected to our myths, they've been connected to our art, they've been connected to our philosophy, and there's been a lot of cross-pollination between them, right? Science has made philosophy better, science has made humanity better, and those things have also gone the other way and made science better. So the reason that I've renamed this class, so rather than our corner of the universe, it's our place in the universe, we're going to come back to this idea of how the things of science inform us about what it means to be human, what our place in the universe really is. So what will we learn in here? We're going to be breaking the class into roughly 4 units. The first one is naked eye astronomy. What can you see with your own eyes? When you go out at night and you see the stars above you, how do they move? Which ones are there? What are the patterns that we see in the night sky with our eyes alone? That will lead us into studying things like the phases of the moon, the turning of the seasons, and we'll look at how those things have influenced how people keep time. This is a long exposure photograph, right? So clearly the stars seem to be going around one point. Do you think you can see this from Syracuse? Could you see the stars doing something like this here? You can. How many of you have heard of the infamous freshman quad party? Don't tell me if you were there, I don't need to know. Yes, you would need a long exposure, because here the stars have moved a long time. You wish you hadn't heard of the quad party. Yes, rib. I was there. You've heard about it all right, yeah. Mike Haney's email was definitely fiery. Yes, you saw me on the news, probably. I was interviewed by the local news about what was going on because I was there. And what I was doing was shooting a time lapse of the night sky to show you in class tomorrow. You'll see that in class tomorrow. And you can indeed see all of the stars rotating around one point. We'll study why that is true. Yeah, Polaris is in the middle. You can't really see it in this photograph, but you'll be able to see it in the video tomorrow. Do I see the freshmen rotating too? No, I don't, Kimberly, because, Kimberly, I know that's a sarcastic question, but let me give you a serious answer. The reason that I didn't see the freshmen rotating is because, so are the stars here really moving in this picture? So, yeah, we're moving, right? We're moving relative to the stars. The Earth is turning, and because the Earth is turning, the stars appear to be turning to us. So the reason I didn't see the freshmen spinning along with the stars is because both the freshmen and I were all on the same rotating Earth. And by the way, please don't meme on the freshmen. So if anybody contracted COVID-19 from the freshman quad party, it's already happened. And it was bad. That shouldn't have happened, right? They should not have been out there. But the important thing now is that we move on with the semester, that this is a growth experience for everybody, and that people stay safe from now going on. So I am not going to be like, bad freshman. No, we're not going to play that game. Now, we shouldn't do that again, right? But I am not out to chase people around with a stick. The second of our units is really a history unit. We're going to look at the history of scientific thought over the last 2,000 years. And that story is the story of how we know the planets orbit the sun. So in the beginning, we thought the Earth was at the center of everything, and that everything revolved around the Earth. And then in the Renaissance, we figured out that no, actually the sun is at the center of the solar system and the planets go around the sun. We'll talk about how that conclusion was reached and what we learned along the way, because that story, the story of how we know that the sun is at the center of the solar system, is also the birth story of science. And we'll look at that story. As part of that, we'll study the philosophy of science, what science is and what science is not, and we will make fun of the flat earthers a lot. So Quincy and Alina can probably attest to all of the flat earth spoofs that we had. Don't make fun of the flat earthers. Why should we not make... So making fun, right, I'm being a little bit flippant, but when I say making fun, what we're going to do is we're going to look at flat earther thought, and we're going to look at how there are fallacies and flaws in the process of science and what the flat earthers did. Michael, so we know the world isn't flat because if it were flat, cats would have already pushed everything off of it. Like if you live with a cat, you know the earth isn't flat because the cats would have just shoved everything right off the edge. Are flat earthers two-dimensional too? I don't know. Our third unit is my favorite. It is the most technical, but it's also the most fun. We're going to study light. What is light? What it's made of? What is a photon? We're going to learn a little quantum mechanics. We're going to learn some chemistry. We're going to learn about atoms. We're going to learn about how a telescope works. And we're going to look at how light is used to study the sky. Michael points out that light is both a beam of particles and a wave at the same time. And yes, it was Einstein that figured out it was both at the same time. And we're going to ask in detail the question, what color is the sun? And it turns out, when you study the colors of the sun in depth, so you're doing all of these technical things, right? You're doing these calculations, we're going to do a little bit of mathematics. And at the end of that calculation, we reach a remarkable conclusion about our own humanity. Because when we study the colors of the sun in depth, we find evidence that the sun is made of the same chemicals that Earth is. And also, all of the other stars, everywhere else in the universe, even to the other side of the universe, all of those stars are made of the same things we are, and that we are made of the guts of stars that exploded billions of years ago. And you can see that just from the colors of stars. So we're going to study light in detail. Yeah, stardust. We're made of space dust, of stardust. We're made of the exploded corpse of a long dead star. And we'll learn that story. It's the greatest story, I think, in humanity, is how the matter from the beginning of the Earth came to be what makes us up. How accurate is the movie Space Jam? I have not seen Space Jam, but I have seen on YouTube a mashup of the theme to Space Jam with the theme to Neon Genesis Evangelion, and it is the funniest thing on the internet. There was a question earlier, someone pointed out that they are colorblind. We will try, if you have any accessibility questions when we get to that unit, I don't think there should be, so we haven't had accessibility issues with colorblind students in the past, but just come talk to me and we'll make sure that everything works in our class for you. Brendan, yeah, that's what I thought. Our fourth unit, now that we're thinking about humans' place in the cosmos, is we'll study in more detail where we fit in. And that is spaceflight. Not just looking at it, but going there. We'll look at the past and present of spaceflight, so how we first dreamt of flying, how we made that dream a reality, went to the moon, and how we might go beyond, how we might travel to Mars, and how we might, at long last, make it to the stars, and what we might find when we get there. We will talk about the possibility of extraterrestrial life. We will talk about what it might look like, where it might lurk, how we might look for it, and why it might be closer to home than we think. So that's the plan for our class. Did we go to the moon? Yes, we did. The most direct evidence that people went to the moon is that there are mirrors left behind on the moon. You can bounce lasers off of them, and just like a traffic cop uses a laser to detect how fast your car is moving, we can use a laser to study the very small motions of the moon as it gets closer to and further away from us. So yes, people did go to the moon because we left stuff behind. Are we going to talk about SpaceX? That sounds like an excellent Ask the Physicist question. If you have a question about commercial spaceflight, post it to the Piazza Ask the Physicist board. I will take a look, I will get you an answer, and if your question is good, then you will get extra credit. Ross, you ask, how does knowing about the motions of the moon help us, about the tides? Not really. The tides are caused by the motion of the moon around the Earth, like the high tide and low tide. But it turns out that the same process that causes the tides actually robs the moon's orbit of energy. So every time the tides go from high tide to low tide to high tide to low tide, there's a little bit of friction. And that friction is what's causing the moon to shift in its orbit. So that's what our agenda for the semester is. I want to remind you of one more thing, which is that my full-time job is helping you all. I've got some other students, but there are 750 of you, so you all are basically my full-time job. So, what does this mean? What does my promise of help to you mean? Type stuff in chat, in class, if you have a question or comment. I know today I've been a little bit disjointed. I have to walk to my laptop and keep looking down. You see me doing that? I'm going to put chat on a giant screen behind the studio lights next time. Outside of class, if you have a question, post it to Piazza. You'll usually get a very quick answer. Students who are active answering each other's questions, particularly if they're about science, may get extra credit. You can email me and ask me for help, but if you're asking me a question that other people might find useful, I'll tell you to post it on Piazza instead, just so everyone can benefit. I'm having office hours today. If you just want to come by, meet me, talk to me in person, I'll be there from 4 to 6 in front of Holden Observatory, and I'll also be on Zoom. So I'll have an electronic device with me. I don't know if it'll be my smartphone or a laptop, and I'll be able to interact with people who are remote on Zoom as well. If you have anything you'd like to talk about, any Ask the Physicist questions, or you've got suggestions for me, so whoever iPhone is was a troll before. So we're going to go back to the participants list, and we're going to go over to iPhone, and we're going to ban them. Yeah, so if iPhone was somebody, if that was like a different iPhone, then I'm sorry, but we had somebody who was posting porn in class in the first section named iPhone, so I'm going to better safe than sorry. We will have like full-time mods in chat in the future, and they will be applying the ban hammer. And once I do that, then we will turn Twitch chat back on. So I'm sorry for the folks who are on Twitch. We will get these issues resolved. Jemmy asks, will we get to use the observatory? It's an amazing question. So here's the thing about the observatory. It looks awesome. I may stream class from the observatory, from the telescope with it like in the background. At some point, all of my streaming equipment is portable. I have a laptop plugged into an SLR. But that telescope is actually less capable than the old than the new portable telescopes in the basement. That old telescope is made out of lenses rather than made out of mirrors. And it turns out that telescopes made out of mirrors can be much smaller and make a better image than telescopes made out of lenses. That telescope was made in the 1800s, and it's really kind of a museum piece. What I would like to do is to do a live astronomy stream where we actually connect a camera to a telescope maybe it's the one in Holden, maybe it's one here, and like show things in the night sky live on Twitch or Zoom. So that, I hope to set that up. That will require some shenanigans, but hopefully that's coming. We've got about 11 minutes left. Yes, so I will be streaming in HD. So one of the reasons that I'm doing this on Twitch is because the video quality is consistently better on Twitch. So the Twitch stream is 1080p. So this statement about the distance to Baltimore, does that make sense? Type in Twitch chat, or in Zoom chat. Yes, Kirsten, I did this in physics class last semester, because this is important both in physics and astronomy. Exactly. So people are saying, wait a minute, I got to assume something. I feel like it makes sense, but maybe it doesn't. I have to tell you something else. Someone said I have to tell you the mode of transportation, but what you really need to know is the speed, right? You've got to know how fast I'm going. Yes, exactly, Siran. I wasn't specific. We talk like that, right? I used to live in Baltimore. It's a 5-hour drive from Syracuse to Baltimore. But it's a 5-hour drive. And the reason I wasn't specific because I wanted you to think about what other piece of information you needed. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Siren. You need to know the speed. So here's another statement. China is 1/15 of a second away. Does that statement make sense in the same way? Yeah, you got to be going real fast, Brendan. And some people have figured it out. If at the speed of light, maybe it is. Yes, China is 1/15 of a second away if you're traveling at the speed of light. And anybody who's ever tried to play a video game with someone in China or Korea or Japan knows about this, right? You know your ping is like 200 milliseconds. Well, it's 1/15 of a second for light to go each way, and light slows down in fiber optic cables. Yes, the lecture slides will not be posted on Blackboard because Blackboard is crap. We already talked about that. But they will be posted on the course website. I had a little bit of a tech issue this morning. I was trying to troubleshoot the audio issue. So please bear with me as I ramp up to speed. But yes, all of the lecture slides will be posted. The syllabus will be on Blackboard as soon as I write no exams on the syllabus. Right? That's why it's not up yet, because you all had to tell me how to do exams, and you all convinced me that I shouldn't have exams. So one way to measure long distances then is by how long light takes to get there. You've probably heard of a light year. So a light year has got to be a really long way if the other side of our planet is a fraction of a light second. There's another unit of distance that's in between. So a light year is way bigger than the solar system. But things like kilometers and miles and meters are way too small. So we have a distance in the middle, an astronomical unit, which is the distance from Earth to the Sun on average. It's 150 million kilometers, and that's about 9 light minutes. A light year is 60,000 of those. So this is why we don't use light years to measure the solar system. Just because the solar system is very small, even compared to a light year. The nearest star, other than the Sun, is about 4 light years away, so you're looking at about 250,000 times further than the Sun to get to the nearest other star. Syracuse does not have a planetarium, but there is really awesome virtual planetarium software that you will use in this class. So, you know, some of you can't come to Syracuse, right? But you can bring a planetarium to your very own computer, and I'll show you how to do that next time. The universe is 14 billion light years across. So this gives you an idea of the crazy scales involved. Now, what I was hoping to do was to show you a video narrated by Morgan Freeman that talks about this. I will not be able to do that because of the audio issues on Zoom. So let me actually step back to something. So Lucas said, do we need to know all of this stuff? You do not need to memorize anything for this class. Remember, there's no exams. You will need to use this information, right? This class is not about knowing. This class is about using. So facts like these, or the things on the next slide about how big stuff is, you will need to use these pieces of information, but you won't need to memorize them. You'll need to understand their consequences. So as an example, we know Earth is about 10,000 kilometers across. We can travel that far in our life, right? I've been to China. I've been 15,000 kilometers away, going around 10,000 kilometers if you go straight through. But let's talk about the scale of things in our solar system. So the moon is about 40 Earth sizes away from us, 400,000 kilometers. Beyond that, the distances get huge. The inner planets are millions of kilometers away, hundreds of millions of kilometers rather. So that's about an AU away from the sun. We're 1 AU away. The other inner planets are, from about 0.3 AU to about 2 AU away from the sun. Jupiter, the outer planets, the ones that are big gas balls, you saw Jupiter in Lisa's picture from earlier, they're about 10 times bigger than Earth in diameter, and they're tens of AUs from the sun. So Jupiter is about 5 AU away, Saturn is about 10 AU away, the most distant planets are 30 or 40 AU away. So that's the size of the solar system, but then the nearest other star, Proxima Centauri, is 250,000 AU. We don't want you to memorize these numbers, but this basic scale of the universe is something that we would like you to know. We've got 4 minutes left in class. Does anybody have any questions at the end? I'll take questions for about 2 minutes, and then I want to remind you of the things you need to do. Yeah, the universe is about 14 billion years old. Doesn't it mean that at some point the universe expanded at light speed? That's a really, really good question. I think you should post that one to Piazza on the Ask the Physicist question, and we'll get you a longer answer. The short version is we think that in some way the universe expanded faster than light speed for a little while, and that's the inflation period that Dorothy mentions. Can I remind you where you can find the syllabus? So the syllabus, if I click back, is going to be on the course website here. That's what it's for. And I will email, so you can find that URL on Blackboard. So this was the video I was going to show you. I can't do that because of issues with Zoom. On Thursday, we're going to dive into the meat of the course. We're going to ask how the night sky moves each night. I'll show you a video that I took from the Syracuse Quad with the freshman party behind me. Yes, the textbook is an ebook. And we'll talk about how the stars appear to move each night. Yes, the syllabus is a website, Brendan. It's linked to from the website. There's not a PDF, there's not a Word document. The syllabus is a website that you will go see. What do you need to do next? So you should fill out the survey telling me how and when you want to go to your lab. No worries, Brendan. Yeah, I really appreciate you all answering each other's questions. And I'll have a bigger monitor so I can see chat better next time. So fill out the survey, tell me when you want to go to lab. If you think you might want to choose your group in advance, like go to lab with your friends, then you'll need to agree with those people what time you want to go. And I'll send you some information about the process for doing that. I'm going to set up a way for you to choose a group that all goes at the same time. But remember, you have to meet with them and you have to agree when you'd like to do your lab. Once I modify the syllabus and put no exams in it, go to the course website and read that. And sign up for Piazza if you haven't already. The textbook is OpenStax Astronomy. The link to that is on the course website. It's in the syllabus that I haven't posted yet. You don't need to read anything in the textbook for now. Just show up Thursday and you're good to go. I will be here for about 5 more minutes answering any questions that people have. Then I want to go get a bite to eat. And then at 4 o'clock I will be in front of, I don't know which way I'm pointing, that way, in front of Holden's Observatory. The slides will be posted right after class, Mariam. I just have to log in and do the thing. So thank you so much. This is going to be a crazy, crazy semester. I'm figuring this out along with you. There was going to be a Monty Python video. All the labs can be done online, but you'll need to work online with your group. So yes, the entire class can be accessible online only. So bear with us. We're going to be working out some tech bugs. Bear with your classmates. They'll be learning alongside you. Andres, the survey is on Blackboard. Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you all for coming. We will have Twitch chat turned back on because we'll have a moderator next time. Ryan, that's the wrong "your." I think you mean YOU''RE. My first job ever was I worked for my high school newspaper fixing the grammar. Yes, thank you all. How long will the papers be? Yeah, sorry, Marissa. So one of the things, if I interrupt what I'm saying every time someone asks a question, then sometimes I will, I'll just be interrupting myself all the time. The papers will be a couple of pages, 2 or 3 pages probably. Any other questions from folks on Zoom? Yeah, have a good day, Gabrielle. Oh, thank you, Michael. Yep, have a good one. I'm going to stop the recording, and yeah, good to see you again, Kirsten. I wish we were seeing each other in better circumstances. I'm going to stop the recording in the stream, and I will see you all Thursday if I don't see you at office hours.